All right, guys, we are back. It's late, and I'm tired, but I've been wanting to get this one done. Um, this is a guest we've had on before, but some major things have happened in her life, and she wanted to. I know, Mr. Bullet. And we've wanted to. Well, she wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to have her on because what she did was really cool, but it was very strenuous and took a long time, and she wanted to talk about the process and all that. And so, anyway, but I guess before we kind of go into it, I guess you should probably reintroduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about your story because not everybody's going to be. I've heard that episode, so yeah.
All right. I'm Erin, and I am 41 years old. I live in central Pennsylvania. I work for the federal government. I have a physical disability. It's called arthrogryposis multiplex congenita. Um, Basically, when I was in utero and developing, I didn't move around enough, I guess, or there wasn't sufficient room. Who knows? Um, and so connective tissue grew around my joints, and my muscles only formed up to like 30% of what they should have formed. Um, so I am affected in all four of my limbs. My condition, it can present itself in over 400 different variations. Like, I have friends that they are affected mainly in their like wrists and hands, or I have friends that are affected in legs and walking, or all four extremities, or like maybe one leg, one arm, all of that. But I was affected all four extremities. I Most of my life I walked in what's known as bilateral CAFOs, which is knee, ankle, foot orthotic, and kind of like old school Forrest Gump type braces. And I used those up until COVID hit. And then COVID hit, and I ended up not wearing them for a while because the world was shut down, couldn't do anything. So it's like, why put them on when they're not comfy to wear and I'm not going anywhere? And after some time, I realized, wow, I'm actually not in as much pain as I was in wearing them all the time. I had a lot more energy and was like able to find ways to do things that I needed to do living on my own at home, that with the braces on, like, it was just a lot harder because like there's weight to them, and it's not that easy to move around with all of that on. So I basically switched to using a power chair, and that's been basically what I've been doing since COVID. And then almost about 2 years ago, my dad had gotten sick, and then um, he had passed away in March of 24, and he was one of the big parts of my support system in allowing me to be able to live on my own and own my own home. Like, he would come over a couple times a week and help me with stuff, whether it was just like we would take the dogs on a walk, or he would mow the grass, or he would shovel, or he would change the filter in my HVAC system in the basement. All sorts of things, like paint the deck when I needed painted or staining, whatever. Um, and or like drive me wherever, like if I needed to go somewhere, or drive me for family functions, or drive the dogs to a vet appointment if they needed to go somewhere. So when he passed away, I was in a position of like, okay, I need to figure out what am I going to do now. So, as you said, big things have happened since our last episode together, and I had decided I wanted to get my license and be able to drive myself so I could do everything that I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it and not have to bother other people or inconvenience them or worry about transportation. So at 41 years old, I went into the DMV and I was like, I need to take the knowledge test. I'm pretty sure I probably said it just like that too.
Probably.
Maybe that was their first indication there's something up with her.
I noticed it right away that there was something up with you.
You just noticed how awesome I was.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant. You were 100% right.
It's because I was referred to you by Mark.
Good. What about Mark?
I was referred to you
right.
from Mark.
Yes. Good old handsome cheeks, Mark.
I hope he hears this one.
Yeah, me too. But no, I mean, before you go into it, is like, obviously transportation is such a problem, regardless of, what disability you have. I mean, there's some that, can work around it, but, obviously your disabilities and mine are totally different, but still we end up in the same place. The disability or the transportation part is really hard and for different reasons, but, yeah, it's hard to find that workaround, and I know it was something you were really talking and thinking about for a while, and then you kind of just did it. What finally made you just say screw it? Was it just you had no other option, or you just kind of got tired of relying on other people, or what was it that made you just...
So, like, my dad lives he lived like 10 minutes away from me, and my sister also lives like 10 minutes away from me too. And I mean, don't get me wrong, my sister would absolutely, like, she helped me out with a lot of appointments and things after my dad passed before I was finalized on getting my license. And that I appreciate it, obviously. And I'm grateful that I have family members still in this area that have that availability to be able to, but like, she also has her own life and her own schedule and everything. So like, I mean, I think, that like I've had low iron issues, so I have to get infusions and such and go get blood work done. And now that I got a port, I have to go in every so many weeks and get it flushed, which is not a long process by any means, but I've got to do it. And she has a big truck.
Alexa, turn the fan on. Whoops. Sorry about that. I muted it, and then I hit the button again and unmuted when I was trying to tell her to turn the fan on. Sorry.
Well, I wonder how many people's fans are turning on right now.
Well, I hope all of them.
Actually, though, I'm really grateful you did not say it loud enough, so mine did not.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But she has a big truck, and I mean, being in a powered chair, like, I'm able to climb into the truck, but it was not easy by any means because, I don't have a whole lot of strength in my arms. Like, I can't pull up easily. Like, and I don't have the grip strength in my hands to like grab onto like all the different like handlebars or whatever could be there. My sister, she's not going to be able to lift me to put me in her car, and family functions also, Like my dad, he made sure, I don't know if he did it for me, but I think that sometimes he did. He made sure he always had a car instead of like an SUV or anything like that. And he was always willing to drive me to my mom's house, which is like an hour away for family functions. Like I was fortunate that even though my parents were divorced, they somehow made it okay enough that like we all still had family functions together for holidays, and we still like did vacations together when all of us kids were older. I mean, I'm the youngest, and at least for the last probably 10 years or so, like they went on family vacations together. I didn't always go because work, or I just didn't want to go because I knew that like where they were going, like the beach is not the easiest for me because I don't like sand. I don't want to crawl in it and get it all over. It's just not my friend, you know. And so, but like there would be vacations that they went to, like this one campground, like Jellystone campgrounds or whatever, you know. And I went to that. My dad would drive me, and he's like, I can take you back whenever you need to go back. It doesn't matter. Like, and he did. So, you know, then that, I mean, I decided to get my license before even the first major holiday that was after my dad passed. And because I knew it was going to become something where like going to Christmas, like at my mom's house, because I have, you know, a little zoo at my house, 3 dogs and cats and some fish. I got some new fish and I got some little snails in there again. They're reproducing like crazy. Um, but I can't stay overnight at my mom's house easily because I'd have to either find somebody to watch my dogs, or I'd have to convince my mom she wanted to let me bring 3 dogs, which that was not happening. So, and my sister, she and her family, they always end up staying overnight at my mom's house. I can't do that. So the whole transportation thing became a issue, like to figure out. And so I was like, I don't want this to become something that to me makes me frustrated or stressed or mad. You know, there's a whole array of feelings that come up when you have a disability and you realize, okay, it is limiting me in this sense, and now I need to figure out how to not let it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I knew that other people that have my condition, they drive. I have a friend who lives in the same area as me, and she drives, and so I've seen what can be done. And like when I was probably in my early 20s, I had decided I wanted to try this process of getting my license before. And actually, my dad took me to the evaluation, and it was after the evaluation, and it was like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, it doesn't really seem like it's a good thing for me right now, because the way that they were thinking of having me driving was not comfortable at all. Like, because I had my braces on at the time and they were locked straight. And I had one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake, and basically I was shifting with my hip to either go or brake, you know? And it wasn't going to be easy. And so I was like, nope. And plus, I lived downtown, and I was like, I can just take the bus places. It was fine. I was like, I'm not going to do it. So I didn't do it. And then once I decided this time, like, I knew that, yeah, it was going to be a whole lot different, especially because I had a power chair now. So I knew I was setting myself up. I was getting a minivan. I don't have kids. I'm not a soccer mom, but I drive a minivan.
That's okay.
But I will say, you know my dog. So Callie, when I take her with me, she is the cutest thing ever because she gets up in the back seat and just stares out the window and just watches everybody out the back seat. I was like, she's so cute. And everybody probably is like, oh my gosh, she's adorable.
Hmm.
So
That's awesome.
It's a minivan, and it just means there's more room to save more animals.
Yes, of course. So what was, how long did the process take? And then obviously what was the process that you had to go through? Because I know it was a lot.
So I got my permit on my learner's permit. I got mid June of 2024. And then I got my license in July 29th, 2025. But then I got my vehicle and all of the modifications and was finalized, like, finally, like, everybody signed off on all the paperwork on January 16th, 2016. I think it was around January 16th of 2016. Or 2026, I mean. Boy. So it's a long process. And I mean, you know how excited I was about this for the longest time.
Yeah.
And so I literally, like, it'd be like, okay, we got to do this, this, and this. And so by the time I was at the last thing of what I had to do for that milestone of it, I was already like, okay, so what's next? What do we do next? Or what do we have to schedule for next time? Like, can we start planning that? And every single person, I'm sure I drove everybody nuts because I was just like, you know me, I'm like, let's go, 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 go. Like, and unfortunately, when you have a very small, like, supply, let's say you have a very small supply, but you have a big demand for it, you're not going to be able to get that supply out quickly, you know?
Yeah.
So I drive with high tech equipment. So I use all hand controls for my driving. If you want to look up, the hand controls are all through electronic mobility controls, and the operation system is ABIT, AEBIT, I think. But we'll get to that part then. Sorry. But when it started, first thing, I went down to the DMV and I was like, hey, I want to take the knowledge test and get my permit, and then so I can work on getting my license and getting a vehicle modified. And the guy down there was like, well, you have to get all this paperwork signed by your doctor, blah, 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 blah. I was like, all I'm doing is taking the knowledge test. Like, why can't I take the knowledge test and I'll take that stuff and then obviously, like, to do the rest of it, I'll have obviously the paperwork completed. And they're like, no, you have to do this first. I was like, okay. And I'm thinking back to like when I did this in like my early 20s. I was like, this is not what I did, but okay. So, and I even asked them, I was like, can you guys look in the system and like, can't you see that I had a permit before? And they're like, no, we can't. And I was like, oh, okay, of course you can't. And I mean, yes, I'm federal, that was state, that's different systems, but I'm pretty sure there's some way that you can find out. But I wasn't going to sit there and argue that much with him. So they gave me this paperwork that I had to get completed. So, and one of them was about like orthopedic limitations. So I could understand that with like my condition and all. And then the other form was neurological clearances. I'm like, there's not anything about my condition that affects me neurologically. And I was like, why do I need this? And they're like, oh, well, I looked it up and it said it's a neuromuscular. I was like, right, it's neuromuscular. It's not neurological like you're thinking. Like they're thinking it's seizures and such, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's not what my condition is, not that at all. And I was like, none of this applies. Because it's like my doctor has to sign off that like I'm okay with flashing lights and I've not had a seizure, and I don't even remember the other questions on it. But I went to my doctor and she's like, I get the orthopedic, why this one? I go, oh, because the guy who has no medical background decided to Google my condition and saw that it was neuromuscular, and then decided that means that it's neurological and that it was like seizures and such. Yeah. And she's like, are you kidding me? I was like, that's what I'm getting from it. And he told me he Googled it, and that's why. And she's like, oh my, okay. So she filled it all out. So I took the paperwork back in literally like a week later. And I told the guy, I was like, I'll be back. And I will have the paperwork filled out and I'm going to take the test then. Right. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, okay. And like, I had his name and he's like, I'm going to make sure and I'm going to come find you specifically since you're the one that told me. I'm 99% sure he did not believe that I would really be back and I would come to his desk specifically and be like, okay, I want to take my test. And, so I left, and when it was like a week later, I went back, I had the papers, and I had emailed him over the week that I was like getting the stuff taken care of from my doctor. There was something else, and I'm pretty sure he like had no idea how I got his email, but I knew enough people that I got his email. So, and that's only important for the rest of the story. So I was there and he's like, okay, can I take my test now? And he's like, well, no, now you have to get the dual permit application filled out and approved. I'm like, what? I was like, why would I do that? He's like, well, you need to get approved for a dual permit application, so and then you can take the knowledge test. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, and I spoke to you last week, and I filled out everything. My doctor signed off on everything. Like, I confirmed it with you last week. You said I could. And he's like, well, no, now you need to do this. I was like, well, who do I need to talk to for this application? And he gave me the information, and apparently they were in the driver mod office, which was upstairs. I was like, can I just go upstairs and talk to them? And he's like, no, you can't go and talk to them. I was like, okay, why not? It's the same building. Like, can you call them and ask someone to come down so I can talk to them about this? Because, like, as you know, transportation already is not great for people with disabilities. I was like, I'm spending almost an entire day to get down here, and then I drive my chair along Front Street, like along the river to get to the DMV, and like, do you realize like my battery life is not great on my wheelchair? Like, I can't keep doing this. And so he's like, well, I'll give you a number. You can call them. So I called, and the only person in the whole PennDOT system that does this was on vacation. I was like, are you kidding me? And so I sat there and was like, all right, what am I going to do? Like, this is ridiculous, because I'm not, like, I know I don't have the time to be able to come back down here easily. Like, this is already starting to, like, look like it's super tiring and exhausting of a process. So I looked it all up on their website again, and it actually spelled out on their website that you could take the knowledge test before having to do any of the other stuff. So I went back over to his desk, and waited, obviously, behind the person he was helping. I wasn't going to just barge in and be rude about it. And so he saw me. He's like, you have to get that approved first. I go, oh, no, I need to have a conversation with you, but it's okay. I'll wait until you're done helping this person. He goes, well, you're going to have to take a number. I was like, I'll wait till you're done helping this person. And then, so he finished. I was like, okay, so I'm ready to take my knowledge test. He goes, you can't take it until you get the application approved. I go, well, no, that's not actually true, because it's just a knowledge test, and it's on your guys' website that I can take it. And I know that you're a supervisor, so I know that you should know, like, this process. I was like, so if we need to talk to, like, the person that's above you, like, that's fine. Just, let's call them, see what they say. He goes, no, you can't take the test, and I'm not letting you take the test because I'm not going to risk losing my job. I was like, I get that. I've worked for the federal government. Like, I understand, like, not risking your job because of something. I was like, but it's on your guys' website that, like, I can take the test. And he's like, well, you can call my manager or whatever. And I was like, okay. I was like, if you want to give me their information, he's like, you'll just have to call the 1-800 number. I go, I mean, you know as well as I do that I'll easily figure out who your manager is, like, within 24 hours. Like, I sent you the email. He goes, yeah, I don't know how you got my email. I was like, I know enough people. I was like, I don't really want to go that route. I don't want it to be a big issue. I just want to take my knowledge test. And then he was like, hold on. So he went away for a little bit. He's like, okay, yeah, you can take your test. I was like, okay. So he's like, go over to computer, whatever. So I go over there. They're all touch screen and they're up higher. So I wasn't going to be able to reach them easily. And I didn't feel comfortable using the touch screen just because of my hands. And I was like, I'm not going to risk, like, when I go to hit the answer that, like, I don't hit it right and I hit the other something else and I get it wrong. So I said, I can't do this on the touch screen. And I kid you not, his face, I could just tell he was so sick of the whole situation. I was like, oh man, I feel really bad, but I know that I'm not wrong in, like, sticking up for myself,
Mm-hmm.
And so finally he's like, all right, fine. I guess I have to go print it out, go into that room. I'll be in there in a second. I was like, okay. And so he comes in and he's like, okay, so I will read the questions aloud to you. I was like, I can read the questions. I can write my answer down. And then as I started it, I was like, you know what? Just to be sure he doesn't accidentally read my like letters incorrectly somehow, I was like, I'm gonna write the letter and circle it so there's no questioning. So I passed the test on the first try. I missed one question. And I said to him, I was like, so if I would have failed, like, how terrible would that have been? And he's like, I mean, people fail all the time on the first test. I was like, right. But, like, this whole big issue to get to this point, like, that would have been really bad. I would have felt really, really, like, terrible about it. And I was like, would you have let me retest another test? Like, and not have to come back tomorrow? He was like, nope, you'd have to come back. I was like, oh, man. I was like, okay. He's like, so good thing you passed. I was like, okay. He's like, congratulations. I was like, thank you. Have a great day. So that was that part. So then after that, OVR was already involved. So I emailed my OVR counselor. I let her know that I passed and everything. So I wanted to originally go through Hershey Rehab because that's who I went through in my 20s. And I was like, I want to just try to go with them and all. But they scheduled me for like mid-September to do an evaluation. And I was like, okay. And was it? Yeah, it was mid-September. And so I got there and it was literally like 10 minutes or less. And the instructor was like, well, I already know we're not going to be able to work with you. I was like, what? Like, I thought my dream was shattered. Where you got in there, like, what? He goes, well, we don't have the high-tech equipment that you would need. You'd have to go through a different driving school. I was like, okay. And I'm like, you knew that I was in a power chair. I explained to you all of my conditions and everything, like my condition and limitations and everything. Like, you couldn't have told me this on the phone like 3 months ago, so I didn't waste these 3 months. So, but then I contacted Branch Driving School. Well, I told my VR counselor that I wanted to go through Branch Driving School and see if I could get in with them. So I contacted them because it has been about 2 weeks. I was waiting to hear something, heard nothing. So contacted them, told them the whole story, everything. They were like, okay, well, we'll reach out to your OVR counselor. And then like a couple of days later, they were like, okay, we have all the paperwork squared away. And I was like, yes, we're moving somewhere. And they're like, we'll be in touch to schedule an evaluation. And from what I knew, Branch Driving School is out of Johnstown. So my friend who lives here in this area, she went through them as well, but she had to go stay out in Johnstown for like a couple weeks to do the training. And I was like, oh man, like what am I going to do? Like if I have to go to Johnstown for like 3 weeks, like who's going to watch my dogs and all of that stuff. But then, surprise, they have a person who lives here in this area that does the high-tech driving. So they were able to get me in with him. He actually, instead of me having to go somewhere, he came to my house. We did the evaluation. There's a whole bunch of like, just like random like tests for like not knowledge, but like hand-eye coordination, facial awareness, things like that. And then we went to a parking lot to just see kind of like how things would possibly work, like to make sure the actual behind a wheel, we could figure it out. Like we have to have the answers of what system was going to work for me, just to know, like, okay, there's definitely a way to make this work and she could be safe on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So that was done. And I want to say that was done in like early winter of 25, January, February timeframe. And then, because when we were about done, and I remember saying, do you think we'll be done so I can drive to my conference, the AMC conference that we have every year? I wanted to be able to drive because it was down in West Virginia. And he was like, man, might be tight, but it might be doable. I was like, all right. And then I also knew I had my family's vacation coming up and I wanted to be able to drive to that. Well, then time just went by and then they got a hold of me and let me know that they could get me in for my training hours, and either in it was July or it would be September. I was like, nope, we're gonna do July. Like I'm not letting this go on any longer than it has to. So we got that scheduled, and I ended up having to miss my AMC conference and miss my family vacation. Both of them I felt awful for missing, but I knew that this was something that was so important to me. Like, I had to make this decision to do this now and not keep letting it get pushed back farther and farther. Because if I wasn't going to be driving by the time of the conference and all, I didn't want to miss the holidays for 2025, because I did miss the holidays in 2024. I think, yeah, we were talking then, so you knew that. And I didn't want that to happen again. So we did 65 hours of training. And then he took me, I actually took my test in Seal and Screws, and I passed on the first time, obviously. That was like so exciting. And when the examiner and I came back from the little road test, Matt, who was my trainer guy, he was standing outside, and I just remember pulling in, and I just kept my face very solid. And we ended up, I shook my head, like I failed. And then when he came over to the car, as the examiner guy was getting out, I was like, sorry, Matt, I failed. We're going to have to come back. And the examiner guy, like, he played along a little bit, but he wasn't going to say anything because, like, he obviously isn't going to lie. And then Matt, like, starts getting in the car. I'm like, I'm just kidding. I totally passed. Let's go in.
Nice.
It was so fun. But, so then I had to submit 3 bids to 3 different places to OVR that I wanted them to contact for bids for doing the work and the modifications on my van. So I selected them. They Total Mobility ended up winning the bid. And so that was really great because they're literally like 7 minutes away from me. And I bought my van through them, and then they did all of the work for modifying. They order all the um, systems and hand controls and everything, and they then basically rip out all the guts of the van and reinstall everything. So it's all the electronic hand controls. So my setup, and I can send you pictures that you can post if you want. I don't know if you post pictures with your podcast ever.
Not usually, but I could.
I mean, that, or I mean, you can always tag my Facebook if people in other states have questions about it, or
Yeah, I could do that.
I mean, even in Pennsylvania, because I'm pretty sure that the process is still relatively the same. But so I got a Chrysler Pacifica because that was the best fit for me and my height and my wheelchair and space wise to navigate my chair in the van. So I have what they call, with the electronic mobility controls and the AVIT system, I have what's called the J series, which basically my gas, steering, and brake is all controlled by a joystick. One joystick to do all that. So, I mean, think like my wheelchair. You've driven wheelchairs before. So all with one joystick. And then I have all of my secondary controls, like my windshield wipers, my turn signals, my headlights, starting the car, park, reverse, and drive are all on this touch screen that I can use with my left hand. So I don't have to touch any pedals. I don't touch the wheel at all. And there's a locking system. It's called the Easy Lock. And it basically, they welded it's tested for wheelchairs as well, this bolt to the bottom of my wheelchair, and it locks into this thing on the floor. So that way when I'm in my chair, my chair is not going to go anywhere,
Mm-hmm. So how much does this thing cost? Because I know it can't be cheap. Because I know someone who has one, and I know that it was at least over $100,000 for them.
So the modifications themselves, or the modifications plus buying the new van?
Plus, yeah. The van plus the modifications.
I want to say it was about $230.
Yeah, okay.
So, because I know I looked at the breakdown. And, that's the hard part, because you also have to, when you get in car insurance, you got to cover all of the modifications and everything, because that stuff is so expensive. And if I get into any kind of an accident or someone hits me or something like that, that needs to be covered too. I was lucky enough that my brother works in the insurance world, so he knows a lot of stuff. And he definitely was able to help me navigate what to do. And his friend also is the person that I dealt with to get my homeowner's insurance through. So I was like, hey, can you help me with getting car insurance for a modified van? And it took a lot of time and figuring things out, but it all got worked out. I was able to get a decent price through travelers insurance actually for it. So
That's
if there
nice.
are other people listening that need to figure out insurance for a modified van with any type of accessible driving, you know,
Yeah.
there's that option.
So what's it feel like now to like have your like true independence now? Like truly you can do what you want and go where
I,
you want.
so I love the fact that I can just go and do things that I need to do whenever I want to. Like, I mean, we've had like the Antarctica blast lately. It's been so incredibly cold here. And I'm not going to drive my wheelchair down the road in the crazy cold to go do errands that I need to do. But like, once I first got it and I realized like, I was like, crap, um, I needed baby food to give the cats their medicine. And I was like, oh no, like I forgot to give it earlier, have someone pick it up for me. I was like, oh wait, I can drive there to the store now and get it. So I literally just hopped in the car at like 9:30 at night and drove over there. And like I can't put it into words. The like freedom and the just like I can just do it, you know? Like I can't put that into words.
Yeah.
But it is such a high and like I love driving. I mean, I'm sure that like everyone else who drives, eventually I will be like, I don't want to drive. But like the cool thing is, even though my van is all set up with everything for me to be able to drive, you can switch it so that way an able-bodied person, like I can put I physically cannot, but the driver's seat can be put back in because I have it and it's on like this platform on wheels and it's got a locking mechanism so it can get locked back into the van. And so, like, your grandma, for instance, could drive it, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm not going to have your grandma drive it, but you know.
I wouldn't either. She sideswiped a Puerto Rican lady the other day, so I wouldn't either. She
What?
yeah. Yeah, that
Oh,
happened.
God.
Everyone's
Oh,
okay.
man.
She just flattened the lady's tire and adios mio. Yeah, just flattened her tire and grandma's side of her car got a little dinked up. But, everyone's good. Everyone's good. She's
Were you with her?
Yeah, I'm starting to think she's just trying to take me out because she only does it on the side that I'm sitting in. So I told her, look, if you want me to start taking Uber more, just let me know. You don't have to be so, secretive about it. And you can just tell me you just, want me to stay home because I will. Because, yeah, every time she does something, it's always to the right side of that car. And it's like, God damn it, Grandma. But, yeah. And I saw the car coming, so I was like, oh, if you didn't. And she just, yeah, it's problematic. But, yeah. Have you had anybody get in your car yet that like didn't know you were in a wheelchair? It's probably hard to tell because it's probably hard because you probably anybody you're letting in your car you trust, and then two, you have all that modification, and then there.
What do you mean? Someone get in my car that didn't know I was in a wheelchair? Like, did I go Uber somebody
No,
somewhere?
but like
No.
no, because like when I first got into Tommy's car, Greco, I think you met him maybe once.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was in a wheelchair. He just said, "Oh yeah, I've used this joystick for my feet, for my hands," and a lot. I'm like, "Oh shit, you're in a wheelchair." Like, if anybody got into your vehicle that didn't know that you But it's probably impossible because, like I said, but you have all that modification anyway. So, and yeah,
Right. No, nobody's gotten in, but like when I'm driving and I'm just bopping along to my music, like at a red light, I always wonder, like, does the car behind me, like, look? Because I mean, I don't know about other people, but like when I was always a passenger, I love looking at other people in cars. And I like to just people watch. So I would always like be like, oh, okay, look at that person, look at that person. Um, but I always wonder, like, I wonder if they're like, wait a minute, where is their like um seat? Like, they don't have a normal looking like driver's seat. Like,
no,
do they see like
they're probably
she's in a wheelchair?
they're probably alarmed by like who is this crazy lady blasting Taylor Swift. They,
It's not always Taylor Swift. It's not.
it's 88%.
89 because she was born in 1989.
Of course.
Um, no, actually, the guy that trained me and did all my follow ups, he hates Taylor Swift. So he was like, nope, we're not doing Taylor Swift. We're not doing Taylor Swift. But then on test day, he let me listen to Taylor Swift the whole drive up there. And I mean, it's like an hour for me to get there from here to Selinsgrove from here.
Yeah.
And so he suffered through it because his whole thing is like, well, as long as like you need to be in a very calm mood. I was like, Taylor Swift calms me down.
That's awesome.
Which is totally accurate because like, and he said to me, he's like, if you want, I'll drive home. Because I was like, why are we taking the driver's seat? He's like, just in case, like, you want me to drive home. I go, what in the world makes you think that once I get my license, I'm going to let you drive? And he's like, we'll see. And he, like, you know me, I am stubborn as all heck. Like, I want to do things and figure them out myself. I don't like being told how to do things. And I think that's just because all my life I've always been told how to do things. And so it's just now that I'm an adult and I know so much. So I'm like, no, let me figure it out. But he was absolutely correct. Like when we were done, I was just like, we got out to the car. I was like, I can't drive home. And he's like, what? I was like, okay, you were right. I can't drive home. I am so tired and hungry because I didn't eat breakfast because I was so nervous. And so I was like, can we please just get food and go home and you drive because I'm just tired. And so we did. I felt really bad because I just started crying on the way home because like I was so happy and so excited. And like I had been calling and texting people and like it hit me like I couldn't call my dad, and like I was doing this all like my dad also, he loved to drive. Like my dad would drive across country if I wanted to go like somewhere out west. He would have driven me like, and he's done it before for other people. So like, I was so just like excited and happy and like I did this like, and I wanted like so badly to be able to call my dad and I couldn't, but like I'm that type. I believe that like my dad's watching over me all the time. And I mean, there are so many times that like I'm out driving somewhere and like, I don't know what your beliefs are on this, but like they always say that like cardinals are visitors from heaven. And I have seen cardinals so much more since my dad passed. But whenever I'm driving, almost every single time, there has been a cardinal that just flies in front of my car. And I'm just like, I get it. But, like, I forget where we were going with that because it started off with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I want to wrap up soon anyway because I want to.
I know it was such a long story, and I'm sorry. And
no, you're fine.
I go off on tangents.
That's okay. I let you just do your thing. I could have thrown shit in, but I was like, no, I'll just let you go. You're gonna you're gonna get to where you're gonna get to. No, I'm actually like, I make fun of you, I tease you, but I actually am very proud of you. I'm happy what you've accomplished. I know it's something you really worked really hard on, and something, obviously your dad would be very proud, and I think anybody should be because of what you just went, you explained the whole process, and obviously, especially the very beginning and the middle, really took a lot out of you because they weren't trying to let you, and they were putting barriers in front of you, and you already had enough of that shit. So the fact that you actually got it all done, and now you can, 9:00 at night, and just go get cat food is like, it's got to be the coolest thing, even though it may seem like a small feat to the average person out there, but yeah, when you can do that, it's like, as a person who can't, I'm just happy for you because I know what that's got to feel like. It's got to be the most freeing thing to not have to call anybody or have to wait or even DoorDash it or whatever. Like, you actually can just go do it yourself. And I think when something is taken from you or something you never had, when you're given something all these years later, it's like, holy shit, like, this is what I've been missing out on. And I think that's why so many people don't realize how we take all these things for granted that like able-bodied people can do. And like the most simple thing is just getting in your car and driving and getting cat food. And now you can do it.
Something I thought about, wanted to talk about. So obviously people can't call in and ask questions or anything like that, but I've had a lot of people ask me the same one question. What about getting gas? And that is actually one of my favorite things to do. Like, at first, I wouldn't go get gas by myself. I waited till, like, I had my friend Christina here, and I would make her go with me so we could get gas because I wanted someone else. I wanted her with me, and I was like, will you just get it for me? Because I don't want to have to do it the way that I would have to do it if I was by myself. But I don't know if do you guys have Sheetz up where you live? The gas station?
Yeah, we have Sheetz and Wawa.
Okay. So I know you're from Philly originally. You love Wawa. But I'm a Sheetz girl. And so I have to give a huge shout out to Sheetz because when it comes to accessibility, if you will, and just like making it work and like being on the ball with something to allow people with disabilities to not feel like, oh, like I can't do it or whatever. They, on all of their pumps, if you look up on the pump, there's a little blue, like the blue wheelchair accessible sign, and there's a phone number, and it says, if you need assistance pumping gas due to a disability or whatever, call this number and we will help you. So you call this number and it goes to their, like, I call it their, like, security hub, where they can, like, literally see all of the Sheetz gas stations on cameras, like all their security cameras. So when you're like pumping gas sometimes, look up and wave at the cameras because there's people watching all the time. But you call them and you don't do what I did first. I called them and I'm like, I'm at, and I told them the road and the city and the state. Because I thought that was all we needed. And I also thought that I was calling the store, but I was calling the like big old security area. And he's like, well, what's the store number that's on the sign? I was like, oh, I don't know. I just had my friend put this number in my phone for me, like the other time I was here. Because I will say the placement of it is not the best for when you're in the van and driving up. Like, not the best placement. But regardless, it's there. And so I got smart and I got the number the next time. But he's like, okay, what pump are you at? I told him what number I was at. He's like, okay, let me look on the cameras. And he's like, flash your high beams real quick so I can make sure that I'm looking at the right car. So I flashed it. He's like, all right, I got you. He's like, someone will be out in a second. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm sitting there, literally less than 2 minutes. An employee comes out and he's like, hey, you need help with pumping gas? I was like, yeah, thanks. I give him my card. He asked me, he's like, what kind do you want? And me being the blonde and not really knowing anything, I'm like, I think the cheapest. I don't know. And he's like, so 87? I was like, that sounds good to me. Because I know the numbers of like, because I see my mom get gas when I was younger and stuff, but like, it was never anything I had to really pay attention to, you know? But he took my card, pumped my gas, gave me my card back, and I was on my way. Like, there's no, like, I don't know for you, but like, I know for me with like wheelchair and physical accessibility stuff, like, sometimes you're stuck waiting for someone to do something, you know?
Yep.
Or you have to go the long way around because it's the like accessible way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is just like, it's not even a thing. So I am super impressed by Sheets with this. Like, and I just know that if somebody is listening to this that has any connections way up in Sheets, tell them I said I am so proud of them. Like, they've got it figured out. And you know as well as I do, that is a huge thing in this world.
Yep.
To find a place that has it figured out.
Yeah,
and it works. Right?
No, it's awesome.
So I'm going to say Sheets is going to beat Wawa on that.
Okay. That's okay. No, that's awesome. Fuck it. I'm not married to Wawa.
Well, I know a lot of people who are Philly people, and they are like diehard Wawa.
Oh yeah, I don't care about that. There's things I like better at Wawa, but that's not. I mean, if it was like, hey, get their like, choose the worst, the better food, or choose accessibility. I'm choosing accessibility over the food because I wouldn't go to Wawa or Sheets for food all the time anyway. So yeah,
I do love Sheets food though too. So, but regardless, like, that just was another thing. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. But the bad thing is Sheets is not everywhere. I'm like, what am I going to do if I go out of the state?
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to like venture in other places. But I'll probably always be like, well, you should contact the people at Sheets and figure out how to mimic their system because like they have it down. And like, even when I called the guy in the first time and it was like, I'm at XYZ road in town XYZ, like, he was so nice about it. Like, he could have been like, well, I need the number on, I need to know the store number. I'd been like, what? Like, he was so cool about it. So chill.
Yeah.
I thought I was calling the wrong place at first because it was the security. I was like, What?
Well,
But
the key part is you're gonna figure it out. You figured out all this shit. You'll figure it out how to get gas into it, and it may not be as easy as
yeah,
Sheets, but hey, it's
I might just park my van farther over, and then eventually, I'm sure it'll make it on a YouTube video or TikTok of me trying to get the gas pump out myself, and that'll be a whole hot mess. But
yeah, you'll figure it out. You shall figure it
yeah,
out. I believe in you.
yeah. So I mean, like that's the really cool part. Like when, like it's so funny. Like people are like, "What's your how do you get gas?" And I'm like, "That's my favorite part." And one of the reasons it's my favorite is because of accessibility.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, my least favorite parking. Parking lots are stupid. I hate them, but obviously I have to go in them to go anywhere. But like, I'm sorry, they don't give a whole lot of room. Like, yes, I understand. Like, there's more space between two accessible spots than there are between two non-accessible spots. But when you don't have very big spots to park anyways, like when I put my ramp out because I have a side entry, like there still needs to be some space to like navigate my chair off of said ramp, you know? And if there's a car in that spot right next to me, there's not a lot of room. So then I have to try to squish my van up all the way close to the car next to me. So then they're going to be mad at me and be like, why do you have to park so close to me when there's that whole spot over there?
Yes.
You know? And also the fact, like the one day I went to the grocery store and I should have taken a picture of it just because it's like, what are you doing? Somebody who needed an accessible parking spot, like there were other parking spots, but they parked in between the parking spots and they parked on the lines. I was like, that does not, no, you can't do that. Like, regardless of needing an accessible spot, that's illegal as it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No,
So I was just like, you're part of my community, hurting the community. It's like, I don't get it. It makes no sense. And I know some of the people who work at Giant, and I guess, like, I mean, I don't do well at hiding what I'm thinking or feeling. Like, you see on my face that I'm annoyed about something. They're like, Erin, you look annoyed. I go, I am. People just, I don't understand them. And I told them the whole story. They're like, that is dumb. I'm going to the parking lot to look now. I was like, okay, have fun. Then I came back out. He's like, why would someone do that? I was like, I don't know. But they did.
You're rambling.
I know, I do that a lot. I'm sorry.
You do, and I would love to wrap up. I mean, I really, like I said,
I know it's a lot. There's so many things to talk about, like with it, because it's so new.
I know.
Do you have any other questions?
No, man. I'm just was happy to hear the story because I haven't heard it in its entirety. So it was nice to hear, and I'm sure it can help somebody out there because I guarantee there's people that have gotten to certain points of your process, and they turned back around. And maybe that test was the one thing that they were like, well, they just keep telling me I have to do this and I have to do that, and they give me the runaround, and now I just gave up. So hopefully someone out there who's been through the same thing and hasn't gotten where you are, maybe now they'll give them hope that they can do it. And
right. And I mean, you know me personally. You know that when you tell me no, I can't do something, I'm gonna be like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so like the very beginning with like, oh, you got to do these papers. So I was like, all right, well, sure. I'm going to play your game, but I'm still going to win.
Yes. Well,
So,
I'm proud of you. Thank you for sharing your wonderful story. Um,
yeah. And now I can come and snuggle with Mr. Bullet.
sure, he's right here snuggling right now. He's looking at me like, why are the lights still on? We should be in bed by now. And I'm like, yeah, I know, buddy, but Erin's still talking.
He's like, out with her again. She always talks.
She always talks, but no, seriously, I think I said I'm sorry. I am really tired, but I appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story. And I did tell you we would do another episode, and here we go. We did it. So
I know, and I didn't think that we would do a second one, but you're right.
This made more sense though. This was perfect because I needed another episode, but at the same time I was like, okay, this is perfect. And just what you went through, and like I said, it was fun to listen to. I was happy I didn't have to talk much. It was nice.
I think I definitely talked a lot more this time than the first time.
Yes, you did. That's okay. No worries. But I'm going to let you be, though, man. I thank you so much for telling your story, and I hope it helps somebody.
You're welcome. Yeah, and like I said, you can put contact information for me. I am more than happy to help people figure it out, whether it's in Pennsylvania or any other state. Like,
okay. So when it comes out, I'll ask you to give me the link, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Okie doke.
All right, sweetie. Well, it was good talking to you. We'll talk soon.
All right, and if anyone has any Great Dane puppies, please contact me.
Yes, contact her, not me. All right, sweetheart. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. I'm super tired. It's not her. I'm not mad at her. She's awesome. I just really, really tired.
Erin Miller.
So I gotta. What? Now she's calling back. Yes.
That was so fun.
I'm still recording. I was trying to wrap up. All right, guys.
Oh.
We're out of here. This is. I'm leaving this in. Bye, guys.